Okay, I guess we should be online now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session on internationalization at home, part 2, after yesterday's training session on this very topic. And there seems to be a lot to say about internationalization at home. The integration of international, my God, and intercultural dimensions in the curriculum of students at home, or to be more precise, in their domestic learning environment might sound like a given. But if I just think back at my times at university studying sociology in Germany, this was sort of utterly unknown territory. So I'm very happy and personally more than curious to hear what our three projects, Elevate, Friends, and Boost, will be presenting today. Our speakers come from Moldova, Bulgaria, Malaysia, and Armenia. They will give us insights in their approaches, in their experiences, and their challenges. My name is Alexander Stelz. I'm your host for today's session and share my duty here with my dear colleague and co-host Julida Ashche. Some last words for our attendees. Please find on the right of the screen a chat window. If you have questions for the speakers, please put these into the Q&A box right next to the chat. And we will start with the presentations of all three projects and close the session with the question and answers. And a nice feature from this platform, in case you like to read subtitles, down somewhere here should be a button with a double C where you can put active subtitles. And I think that's enough of warming up. Let's welcome Rodica Krudu from Elevate Project. Rodica, the floor is yours.
Hello to everyone. Thank you for the opportunity of sharing the experience that we had within the Elevate project. Could it just that it's uploading the presentation? So please let me. It shows me know once the presentation is visible to everyone.
Oare mă auziți?
And
auzim.
Anahit, maybe you can put yourself
Aș
on
o întrebare, eram într-o altă
silent.
conferință în timp ce ea... Da,
Rodica, oh, I think we lost one speaker. What a pity. Okay, all right. Maybe we give her a couple of moments to reconnect and we just jump on to the next project presented by Andy Serin and Christina Muratlieva, who doesn't, and this project doesn't just have an intriguing name, also its approach is inspiring. I pass the virtual mic to Andy and Christina.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Greetings to you all from Varna University of Management in Bulgaria. It's a pleasure to be here today and to be able to present together with my colleague, Professor Andy Serin, the Friends Project's main results and in particular to review our efforts to embrace intercultural engagement and cultural diversity in both formal and informal curriculum. And I like to believe that this opportunity to address you here today at this online forum will also prove an excellent chance to sort of make new friends beyond our friends community. And to present our friends community, I'm happy to give the floor to my colleague and dear friend, Professor Andy Serin from Malaysia. Andy, over to you.
Thank you, Christina. And yes, so Christina mentioned that it's the Friends family, and I think we've been very lucky with this project. It's a very big project. As you'll see, we've got institutions from 5 countries around Asia and 4 within Europe. So it's a big project. And I think not only is the project called Friends, but we have become real friends through the project as well, looking at how we can work together on student mobility, looking at how we can provide students with a better opportunity to be culturally aware and be, I'll tell you a little bit later on about APU, but global citizens who can interact with people from lots and lots of different backgrounds. you'll hear more about this as we go through. So I think this slide's a nice quick one. Back to Christina.
Yes, thank you. And on this slide, we felt the need to sort of display once again the probably most famous definition of internationalization at home, of the concept. And apart from clarifying the basic terms, actually the whole project was built around and designed. We also sort of wanted to make it clear that we literally borrowed this definition and have integrated it in our main project objective by always properly and duly referring to the original source and crediting the Belen and Jones definition. Can we move further, Andy? So in other words, in the course of this project, of the Friends project, we are combining efforts to build students' intercultural competence through intentional integration of intercultural dimensions and qualities into partners' formal curriculum, but also extracurricular campus life. For starters, we would like to focus on the Intercultural Passport virtual module that was designed and developed and is being delivered and disseminated in the project. The passport, the Intercultural Passport, is a innovative learning tool that combines virtual mobility with methodologies for validation of prior experiential learning. And this experiential learning of students is evidenced through digital storytelling. And digital storytelling represents a very important component in our activities. The Intercultural Passport Award is subject to successful completion of the Intercultural Awareness and Cultural Diversity Massive Online Open Course that is available, accessible on our website. And also students are required to submit a digital story, a relevant one that reflects on previous experiences of theirs in international and or intercultural environments. And so the overall workload of the students is approximately 120 hours, and upon completion of the MOOC, and also the submission of the digital story, we award them with 4 ECTS, which the 12 partner universities in the 5 Asian countries recognize in line with their internal rules and regulations. And finally, we like to believe that this intercultural passport certificate that is being issued upon successful completion of the virtual module, that this is a sort of metaphorical supplement to the international passports students would have when crossing political borders. We like to believe that the intercultural passport sort of empowers them to cross cultural borders. And in the next slides, I'd like to give the floor back to Andy to share with you the wonderful work he and his team at APU are doing to exploit this virtual module at institutional level.
Okay, thank you, Christina, again. I suppose a little bit of background to APU. We started about 30 years ago as an IT college, and the reason I mention the IT college is because of where we've moved with the module. So Christina mentioned the Intercultural Passport. We started it about 1.5 years ago. We had a small number of students enroll, and then we encouraged more students to take this option. As I say, it was an option, but we then realized that if we go back to the roots of APIT, our college name, and APU, we wanted to develop globally ready professionals. We wanted them to be able to move into intercultural areas, work with people around the globe. And so this Intercultural Passport was a great opportunity for us to embed it within the curriculum. And so what we did was we extended the passport. So it came from the project, we added to it, we included a class test, a reflective report, as well as the digital story, but basing the materials on what is in the Intercultural Passport. And as you'll see, we've had quite a bit of success so far. In fact, last week, my colleagues and I were finishing marking the 400 digital stories that you can see we have at the moment. We've got another 400 odd that started the module about 2 weeks ago, and there'll be another group starting sometime in November. So you'll see we've got a large number of students already involved in the module. What we did was again, going back to what I said about being an IT institution, the most popular programs that we have, with over half of the students, are the technology programs. So we decided we would embed the IACD module, so Intercultural Awareness and Cultural Diversity module, which is the extension of the Friends Project, into those programs. And that now incorporates 38% of all of the undergraduate degree programs that we run. Over the next 6 months or so, we'll be adding the module to some of the design programs. And with a bigger revamp of our programs, which is scheduled to start towards the middle or end of next year, by the start of 2023, we should have about 80% of our programs incorporating the output of the Friends Project. So you can see it's actually been a very useful part of the work at APU. I mentioned that we've got a large number of students. They come from 130 different countries and territories. You'll see at the moment, the majority of the students taking the module are from Southeast Asia. And so that will include Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, obviously Malaysia. But we're hoping that as the borders start to open and students feel happy to travel for their university careers, the number of international students will start to go up again. Again, I mentioned that we predominantly introduced this to the IT programs. In Asia, there is still a more likelihood that males will move into the technology programs. But one of the members of the Friends team at APU is also working on some of the activities, we call this all women into computing. And we're hoping that that will encourage more females to come into the programs and extend even further. Back to Christina about the tea house.
Thank you. Now that we sort of have acquainted you of our interventions into universities' formal curriculum, formal study programs, we'd also like to focus on measures and initiatives in the project undertaken to cater for universities' needs to enhance campus diversity and also to sort of animate student social life on campus. And for this purpose, we've established the Friends Tea Houses, 12, in total, 1 per partner university. And these Friends Tea Houses, obviously, as the title suggests, they welcome diversity. And in particular, they provide practical support to students to international students and or local students with diverse cultural, religious, minority, ethnic background. And these Friends Tea Houses, these are formal units, structural units that were created as extensions to the existing international offices. And apart from being in charge of the Intercultural Passport Award and later on sustainability, the Friends Tea Houses also are in charge of implementing the Home Away from Home program. This is a program co-created at consortium level by all partner universities that later on each of the 12 partner universities in Asia sort of took and adapted, adjusted at institutional level. This program represents a program for integrated student care, again, for international students and students with a diverse cultural background. And finally, also these Friends Tea Houses, which are co-run, co-managed by students, they also are sort of in charge of the university's campus life, and students are co-creating the social and cultural agendas. And maybe, Andy, we can proceed with the next slide, and you can tell what you're doing at APU in your Friends Tea House.
Okay, well, our tea house is centrally located. We have our centre point, a meeting hub with eateries, general congregation area. So it's a prominent position for the tea house because we know the importance of the project. But what we've been doing, we've held 2 now, International Friends Days at APU in conjunction with the International Friendship Day from the United Nations. And so the event we held a couple of months ago, we identified the top students for the submission of the digital stories. So the photo you can see on the screen, apart from the 2 clones that appear on the top left and middle right, top right is another one of the team members. The rest are the students, and those are the winners of the digital stories. So we've tried to incorporate as much as possible students' input into everything we do. On the top right, you'll see now photos of one of the catch-up sessions that we have with our students. Now, the way we've introduced the IACD module is that students will go through the materials at their own pace, but we have catch-up sessions which we run every 3 weeks for the students to drop in to just understand how they're progressing and work out whether or not they have any difficulties that we can help them with. As I said, we've incorporated it into our curriculum, and we're going to embed it further. But with the Tea House, we've also been working with the Student Representative Council, and they will be helping to manage the Tea House. They'll be using the Tea House as well to work with students to develop more activities, more social activities, to allow the students to demonstrate their own cultures. We realise that the best way to understand culture is for everybody to sit around and hear about it. So we already have a lot of events where students will come and they'll perform national dances. They'll provide examples of their national food, singing, discussions about their own countries. So the Student Representative Council will help with that social inclusion of all of our students, and allow the Tea House to be used as this hub to plan and develop those different activities. But it's all very well and good me saying, this is how good we are, but what we really want to know is what the students think. And you'll see that, again, I mentioned that it's centrally located, and you'll see that the comment there, students can see the importance of being cultural and intercultural because of the prominence of the Tea House. They like the way that it's introduced in the first year, so they're understanding from day one that cultural awareness is really important for students. Again, the number of events, it's been difficult over the last year and a half to hold real physical activities, but we have been holding them virtually, and students have been engaged, but they really are looking forward to being back on campus to be able to get involved more with their fellow students. Again, I mentioned they like working at their own pace, and it's the freedom that they get, as well as being able to develop their own digital stories. Some of the digital stories, the students are really opening up about who they are, what they like, their backgrounds, their cultures, and the difficulties that some of them have actually faced. So I think it's also a very good opportunity for students to discuss their issues. But again, it brings the best of the culture to remember not only their loved ones, but also what they really are meant to be. Okay, last couple of slides. Christine, I think this is probably the last one.
Thank you, Andy. And I know time is tight, so for you guys out there, just some figures we felt important to display, simply because they, in one way or another, reflect also on the impact of the project, so far. As you can see, over 12,000 students have completed the MOOC so far, which is a huge figure across the 12 universities, of course, and over 600 digital stories, over 600 Intercultural passport certificates have been awarded, and we're looking forward to increase this figure. And Andy, maybe, with the last slide, a couple of important information and feedback and statistics from the students. Over 80% of them sort of said that, or are saying that they've learned a lot. And also a very high percentage of the students sort of claim to be feeling more confident and competent nowadays when communicating with people with different cultures, simply as a result of the Intercultural passport, the virtual module, and also their attendance and contributions to Friends Tea Houses. And finally, a high number of the students sort of feel empowered to eventually embark on international mobility, or simply later on look for work opportunities abroad. And finally, the new program is promising and striving to achieve a more inclusive, more digital, more greener higher education. And what we like to believe that with this project that focuses on virtual mobility and also inclusion, social inclusion, But we're also already in one way or another sort of addressing these priorities, and we look forward to bring this project to the next level. Who knows, maybe strand 2, maybe strand 3. We're already considering different opportunities. Thank you for your attention. I hope you finished on time. Thank you.
Perfectly fine. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
And now let's see if we can elevate Rodica back on stage. We cannot hear you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you and also see the presentation.
Okay. Hello to everyone. Let's hope that this time will work smoothly. I want first to thank you for the opportunity to share our experience in implementing the Elevate project, which has the title of Elevating the Internationalization of Higher Education in Moldova. My name is Rodica Crudu. I'm associate professor and academic coordinator of this project. And we were supposed to have Mrs. Olesia Sârbu, which is the vice rector of the Academy of Economic Studies of Moldova, which was the grant coordinator. But because currently she's presenting also on this project in the Senate meeting of our university, she was not with us today. Okay, few words about the project. It's a structural project which started back in 2016. It was supposed to be implemented during 3 years, but we asked for an extension of 1 year, so it ended up on October 2020. In this project, we have 6 universities from Moldova. It's probably worth to mention that in Moldova, a small country in Eastern Europe, we have 28 universities, and 6, the biggest one, were involved in this project. And because this is a structural project which envisaged the changes in the legislation, and not only changes, but also creation of the legislation supporting the internationalization of the higher education, we have the Ministry of Education, Culture and Research of the Republic of Moldova involved, and also National Councils of Rectors of Moldova, which to represent the voice of all the other higher education institutions from Moldova. We have also 5 other universities, European partners, namely Maastricht University, Miklos Romelis University, Buckinghamshire University, University of Maribor, and European Policy and Development Research Institute from Slovenia. The general objective of the project was to support the modernization and accessibility and internationalization of higher education field in Moldova. And I've liked how Alexander started this session. When we started this project, was quite dark in everything that meant internationalization of higher education in Moldova, with only few universities were involved in international credit mobilities, and being involved as partners in few capacity building projects. And Elevate was one of the first, in fact, project to be coordinated by a Moldovan university, and namely the Academy of Economic Studies of Moldova, which is the main university specialized in economic studies, and was tackling one of the biggest issues of the Moldovan higher education system, and namely internationalization. Because somehow we are kind of stuck in a nutshell in internal environment, and less being exposed to the international. In order to realize that big objective, we set up 3 specific objectives, and namely to develop and advance national legislative framework, which will later on elevate the process of internationalization of Moldovan higher education and research. then build the university integrative function through institutional policies for the internationalization of education, research, mobility, and other related activities. And the third one, to enhance institutional capacity for effective participation in large-scale international collaborations. Of course, in order to implement and to materialize all those objectives, several working packages were designed. I will not go through all of them, but I'll focus on the main activities that were carried out and what are the results. First, we wanted to assess the state of play of internationalization in Moldova. A data collection tool was designed for collecting and analyzing the internationalization of higher education and research data in Moldova. This activity resulted in production of comprehensive quantitative questionnaire to measure the impact assigned. Additionally, to the planned data collection tool, which is mostly oriented towards getting and gathering quantitative data, our university decided to design another short questionnaire that will enable higher education institutions from Moldova to collect and analyze qualitative data on internationalization of higher education. So surveys were designed and completed, filled out by each partner university in Moldova. Altogether, there, as I mentioned, 6 partner universities, and additionally, those universities were represented by the Rectors Council of the Republic of Moldova. It's worth to mention that we didn't want just to assess, to see what is the current situation, but I wanted to see how it changes in dynamics. So these questionnaires were applied in 2017, just at the beginning of the project, assessing the period from 2010 2017, then in the middle of the project, and at the end, in 2019 and 2020. After collecting data, a rigorous validation cycle has been implemented to assure that the quality and comparability of the collected data is assured. Also, interviews were carried out with the representatives of the Rectors Council and the Ministry of Education, Culture and Research, and university leaders in Moldova during the meetings that were carried out for the Rectors Council, in order to assure the accuracy and comparability of the national institutional data sets. So what we had as the result is the production of the detailed data analysis reports in form of country profile, which in addition to the state of play, it included also cross-country comparative aspect of the higher internationalization of higher education during the project lifetime, as I told you in dynamics. Then we proceeded with the development and advancement of the national legislative framework on internationalization of higher education in Moldova. For this, a national policy task force group on internationalization reforms was created. Altogether, 15 experts from all the representing universities. And the main objective of this national policy task force was to identify specific needs, initiate a dialogue between the project and Moldova public authorities. So, of course, the discussions held of this national policy task force were held during the several country workshops, during which was ensured that we have transferred know-how from the European partner university to Moldovan. Also discussions on joint and double degrees realized in Moldova, and finalized with the elaboration and approved by the Ministry of Education, Culture and Research of the Republic of Moldova of several, let's say, regulatory documents, and namely recommendation framework for the initiation and organization of joint and double degrees programs, recommendation framework on organization of academic mobility and recognition of mobility periods, and a national roadmap on internationalization of higher education in Moldova. Another deliverable in this package was the National Information Service that was created at the country level, which is a data collection tool on internationalization of higher education, and namely counting the incoming mobility research and projects that are carried out by Moldovan University. And this tool is served in order to benchmark the involvement of internationalization of education research of higher education in Moldova, and to implement the methodology of public financing of higher education institutions in Moldova. Okay, let us check whether you hear me and then you see.
Yes, we can see you.
Do you hear me? Yeah.
And see the presentation.
Okay. Okay. Then we proceeded with the advancement of university integrated function through the internationalization of Moldova. There were created 12 university working groups, and specifically 2 working groups in each university, consisting of 4 people in each group. And the main objective of these working groups is to work on strategic development of internationalization at the university level, and these working groups conducted regular sessions to follow the progress on new strategies development on internationalization, mobility, development of recognition of mobilities at the university level. The first working groups included institutional leaders, top managers of the universities that were in direct contact with the public authorities. But the second working groups included the head and officers of the international relations officers of the project partner higher education universities. Also in this package, 10 university strategies. I mean, the main outcome and the main output of this working package is that there were 10 university strategies on internationalization that have been designed and adopted and implemented in those 6 partner universities involved. And additionally, we have 4 universities, members of the councils of rectors, that attended studied visits that were organized in the project, and proceeded with the design and adoption of these internationalization strategies. What is also worth to be mentioned in here, that the majority of the project partners higher education institutions were working either on updating their existing strategies, and that was done in 2018, just in 1 year after the project started. But at the end, we thought that COVID-19 changed the framework and changed the way we saw mobilities and we saw the internationalization of higher education. So we've decided in the last year to ask the university to come up with a updated version that would reflect those effects of pandemic situation of COVID-19 and focus their attention of virtual mobility exchange, digitalization of digitalization of the education. So,
Ulrika, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you are almost done with your speaking time. So maybe you pick our last slide to focus on or wrap it up. Thank you.
Okay. At the institutional level, we have, besides the strategies adopted, we have also recommendations for the university's research management and talent development elaborated and approved, recommendation guidelines adopted at the university level, and action plans. How do the Moldovan universities get integrated and participate in the European research area? 6 employability seminars were organized in order to assure that we do have the feedback of the employers and how they do see the importance of internationalization and students' mobility and how they can reshape and improve the content of the curriculum. The biggest outcome, tangible outcome, is the fully equipped convention center that was created at the premises of the our university. Is a big room, convention room, equipped with a large screen, with the technology supporting the online conferences and simultaneous interpretations. And also every partner university created language labs, especially English language labs, fully equipped. And we have in every university groups of students and academic staff and international relations office staff trained and certified. So that means that we moved to another level in what means speaking language and getting involved in the internationalization. So just a few words about the impact.
Radhika, I'm very sorry, but just to be fair, also for the next project which is coming, and if we find later some time, maybe we can continue there. Also, every attendee, please be aware that you can contact all of our speakers on the top menu, send messages in case you're interested, and I'm sure we can also send your presentation after the fair. I'm very sorry, but just because I can imagine that Anaid and Mariana are already like very looking forward to start. So I would thank you very much, Radhika. And
sorry for not fitting into the time frame.
No problem, no problem. You also had technical problems, so fair enough. But yeah, as said, let's continue with our last project, which is Boost, presented by Anaid Odian and Mariana Harut-Yunyan. Ladies, the floor is yours. Let me just 1 second. So, Anaid, please.
Mariana is representing the coordinating organization, so she will start. Mariana?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for participating in our session. The Boost project is really a very valuable project for us because it helps us to create the real platform for internationalization in regards of strategy development, in regards of filmmaking and creating platform website for attracting the international student to our country. But let me go to my presentation and pass step by step, and I will try to be as short as possible in order to be on time. So the project partnership, it actually was a national project, and we were 5 universities from Armenia, regional and urban universities, and also Ministry of Education, Science, Culture and Sport was a partner of our project, and national.
Marina, we don't see the presentation. Are you sharing? Excuse me.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we don't see it, please.
I will. It shows me that it's loading. Let me. Do you see it now?
No. Oh, now, yes. Now, yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we were 5 universities from Armenia, and Ministry of Education, Science, Culture and Sport was a partner, as well as Armenian National Information Center for Academic Recognition and Mobility was a member of our project. And the program countries university were from Spain, Portugal, Sweden and Estonia. The importance of the boost structure project for Armenia was first of all connected with the fact that not only universities from capital, but because mostly universities are located in the capital of Armenia, in Yerevan, but also regional universities were also included. Just very shortly about the situation in Armenia regarding the higher education system. So we have 26 state universities. We are quite small country, but we have that much university. We have 4 international and 33 private higher educational institutions, and all of them were guided by different strategies for internationalization, and in many cases the strategy was almost absent, and there was obvious that we really need our higher education system needed developing a national strategy for internationalization. So the project main objective was to foster and promote international dimensions of the Armenian higher education for development of national and institutional policy framework and tools for internationalization consistent with the recommendations set forth in European Communique and European Higher Education Area Mobility Strategy 2020. Based on it, we have the specific objective, which were the most important specific objectives to develop national policy framework and tools for facilitating internationalization practices in Armenian higher education institutions, and create a national platform for internationalization in higher education and online tools for mapping and benchmarking the internationalization processes, and to build capacities for international cooperation offices regarding staff, equipment, and things like that, and also to create ICO resources and service-oriented centered at the Armenian higher education institutions. So the main concerns in the field of higher education internationalization in our country revealed mostly with issues related to recruitment of foreign faculty and students. It was visa issues, it was temporary residence issues, work permits, as well as qualification recognition processes that always require priority attention. There was a small number of educational programs in foreign languages, almost in all universities in the country. Incompatibility of local admission procedures of international students with the global trends and with the development of the educational system. Insufficient and not targeted dissemination of information on higher educations and their educational programs available, and not sufficient financial aid and social support system, as well as lack of accommodation, because student housing and dormitories are mostly the big problem and challenge for foreign students. So after 4 years, we have 1 year prolongation of the project. We come up with the results. And here I will go pass through the goals very shortly. The goal number 1 was to create an environment that boosts the internationalization of higher education and research, boost the competitiveness of higher education programs and research at the international level, increase international visibilities and attractiveness of Armenia's higher education and research, and increase international mobility of students, faculties, and administrative staff of Armenian universities. So that all took its place on a national strategy developed for 2021-2023, and the action plan with those specific developed targets. And the second result is the comprehensive institutional marketing plans that were developed in each universities and published, and also international cooperation offices of the universities. They improved policies and procedures. Several of them were just developing the policies and procedures that they later on were approved by the governing bodies of the universities. And also institutional SWOT analysis were conducted, concept paper for operationalization of ICOs and service-oriented university centers published and approved by the University Council, as I have already mentioned. So the SWOT analysis was about all the fields that higher education institution can deal with, starting with articulating institutional commitment and finishing with collaboration and partnership, student mobilities, and whatever is required for comprehensive internationalization of higher education. As a further result, we had website created with all necessary tools for mapping and benchmarking, and education, and a small, very short promo video as a marketing tool for introducing the country. And I will turn it on now. And
Why
welcoming the
study
students
in
from other
Armenia?
countries.
Because Armenia is a land of knowledge.
Quality education,
World famous research centers,
creativity and innovation,
Variety of study fields.
information and technology,
engineering and construction, arts,
music, medical education.
agriculture and winery, education, humanities, and many more.
Need more reasons to study in Armenia? Armenia is affordable.
Reasonable tuition fees, available libraries.
Low cost of living.
No visa issues. Still not convinced to come and study here? Armenia is enchanting.
Ancient history, rich cultural heritage,
Diverse landscapes.
Festive lifestyle, breathtaking adventures.
Safety. Almost forgot.
dolma and gada.
Come and study in Armenia.
So as you can see, we try to include as much as possible information in this very small video, and it was very complicated time when we were working on it. It was COVID time where almost all international students left Armenia, but in any case, we try to manage and come up with this video, and all our partners as well as the Armenian higher education representatives value this video so much. We really rely on this website because we miss this, and we really rely on the fact that Armenia can be an attractive destination for education.
Okay, thank you, Mariana. Since we have counted minutes left, let me go over the other slides very quickly. So another result of the project was really a good synergy development, because this Harmony Picasso are also internationalization projects in Armenia, and also during one of trainings at Spain University, Rovira and Virgil, we managed to attend also another internationalization Sukti project. So as you can see, this big picture, and then we presented also Armenian food. It was a great cultural experience, cross-cultural experience. Next, Mariana. So we had in-house and regional dissemination conferences in all universities. Next. And of course, we tried to share experiences as much as possible, and the newsletters, the website, all of that helped with that purpose. Next. So as she showed, this film was received very well. Next. And one important, spin-off effect, which I think many other projects may have had, was that based on the cooperation and based on the work with our Western European partners, institutions, we then developed new projects. And one was like intranet project development with KTH from Stockholm, Sweden. So right now we are finalizing this project, but it just was born during the Boost project. Thank you. Next.
Let me add that we have also another project born with the same university in our university in Armenia, State Pedagogical University, which was kind of a continuation of internationalization in a very small context. And just, it's not in the slide, but I want to add it as well.
So what were the challenges? Serious challenges. The country faced velvet revolution. We had the government lockdown. The leadership in the government, in the ministry, were changed. And you may have heard that the journal Economist recognized Armenia as the country of the year in 2018. But you can imagine it was not easy to conduct the project under all these conditions. Next, please. And again, COVID was a serious issue, and we switched to online work mainly. Next. Here it is. So despite all of that, we managed really to successfully finish the conference. And of course, instead of 3 years, it took 2 years, but we had very, very successful final conference. So this much, thank you very much. We had, as last presenter, limited time, so I don't want to extend it any further.
Thank you very much, Team Boost. That was very on point. You would even have had 2 minutes more. But I guess we can then proceed to some questions our audience might have. Sadly, I didn't see any question asked in the Q&A section. And if nobody from the audience has right away a question, I mean,
if no questions, I would like to emphasize one thing.
Sure.
Yeah, which is, I just went so fast because of time limit, but I think our colleagues from other universities, other projects might also mention that one lesson that we learned, which I found very important, was that internationalization is not really the business of international offices only. So we learned that you have to have community engagement. You have to have faculty involved a lot, students, all levels, from leadership to all departments, so that they all would appreciate and they get engaged, be it through teaching, be it through research and all of that. So before, we were somehow seeing the international relations offices as the pioneers, as the main coordinating, having main coordinating roles. So I think internationalization can succeed if really the whole university, the community is engaged.
And just to ask from my side, did you already prepare the involvement of all stakeholders within the university universe from the very beginning, or was it something which was implemented a little bit step by step?
Excuse me, what was prepared?
No, you just said that it's very important to involve from the beginning all stakeholders, all parties.
No, we learned that during the project, especially.
Okay,
you see, we are American University of Armenia, for instance, and we are quite international. But again, the main burden was on this international relations office, let's say. But now we have program chairs involved. They personally, write research projects, this and that, find their partners. So I think Boost project very much contributed to it.
Okay, great.
I would like to add, if possible, I would like to add that this project really helped us to make like small revolutions in our university and to look at the internationalization from different perspectives. And to understand that, yes, internationalization is not only related with the international department in the university, but it should be everywhere. It should be in each faculty, in each unit, and everyone should experience it.
And if I may, I want to share just our experience in terms of challenges implementing such a project, because our project was targeting creation and change of the legislative framework of the national level. What we understood is that we didn't took into account one of the major risks and namely change of the political power in the country. Because we had in 2 years 3 changes. So the government and the political powers in the country changed 3 times, which delayed a lot of the process of adopting the regulatory documents at the national level, and later on to have them as a basis for the internationalization of as regulating documents at the institutional level. So probably here we do have a lot of universities that might think about running project in internationalization. If you are thinking about structural projects, please keep into mind, be very mindful and careful when planning the deliverables at the national legislation, the national level. So take into consideration as well that the power, the political power might change, and you will not fit into the deadline as expected at the moment of designing the project application.
Thank you very much, Ulrika. I guess both recommendations from you and also Anahit are very interesting for our attendees or people are thinking to apply for a CBHE project. Christina, Andy, do you have any good recommendation you could give to people thinking about sending out an application?
Well, maybe I'm going to state the obvious that, in this times we're living of COVID pandemic, internationalization at home is actually a key to success and a very useful tool for institutions to proceed further with internationalization. And for us, the COVID pandemic outbreak was in one way or another a blessing in disguise, because as funny as this might sound, because it coincided with the piloting stage of our MOOC, and all of a sudden we got these huge figures of students attending and the MOOC and studying from home. And finally, last but not least, I can only second the partners, colleagues who said that internationalization should become a horizontal policy at each and every university. And in my opinion, it should be also independent from any political developments in the country, because universities are autonomous and should be able to reach out to other academic institutions across the world. So thank you for your attention, and good luck to everyone interested in preparing the project on internationalization at home. It's a very exciting area to work with and to collaborate with partners.
And then just one more item. Obviously, everything that we've done in this project has been for the students, because we want them to be able to go out into the world, whether that's from their bedrooms, whether that's by traveling, but they have to be able to work well with people from different cultures, different backgrounds. As Christina was saying, I think the pandemic was useful. You're not going to hear many people say that, but it provided the catalyst for change in the education environment, where I think students and institutions are now realizing that the way they need to deliver to students is going to be different. International travel will get back to what it was, but for now, no. So how can we instill all the skills that we want for the students? How can we allow them to develop the skills to be able to work with different people? And by going through this MOOC, they've had to work out how to do this. And so we're confident that when a student graduates from any of the institutions in the Friends Project, they will be able to work from home, but with people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different time zones. Example is today. I'll be asleep in about 10 minutes, whereas others are just waking up for breakfast. But I think it's helped. It's all been for the students with the Friends Project, and I think the comments show that they've enjoyed it, as have those who've been involved in developing it as well. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Andy. And sadly, no question from the audience, and we are basically also running out of time. So I'd just like to send a big thank you to the speakers and those 3 different takes on my God, this word is killing me today. Internationalization at home. And I wish everybody a good evening, afternoon, morning. And if you stay here with us in the fair, I hope you catch another nice session. And see you hopefully soon again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.